The race in Shanghai begins in 5 lights time. The Chinese Grand Prix is underway.
Hey, I'm Serenity and this is my channel and welcome back to my kitchen. Welcome back to Pit Stop Sweet and Treats. Today is round 2 in the F1 calendar and we are racing in Shanghai, China. So as always, we're making a traditional dessert inspired by our hosting country, China, this week. And we are making Tanghulu. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I have it written out phonetically, but I'm still dyslexic. So basically it is a sugar glazed like fruit using fresh fruit skewered. So let's start by putting on our beautiful apron. So we are going to start by skewering our fruits. I'm using strawberries and grapes today. It looks like very little. I'm kind of halving this recipe I'm using. I'm halving it because my teeth are really sensitive. But you're gonna skewer about 3 pieces of fruit on each. I'm only halving the fruit. I'm not halving syrup we're gonna make. So Tanghulu originates in northern China and it is a snack made obviously by skewering fresh fruit and then dipped into a hot sugar syrup. It's popular amongst street vendors. It's traditionally made with the hawthorn fruit, but strawberries, cranberries, grapes, oranges, and pineapples are often used too. So obviously, if you've seen it on TikTok, you usually see like grapes and strawberries used. You just need a fruit that's like really firm, that when it is coated in a hot syrup, it doesn't crack under the caramelized sugar. Tanghulu translates to bottle gourd in Chinese, which is the hawthorn fruit, and that's eaten in the wintertime, so this is very popular amongst food stands in the winter. This is our fruit skewered. We are going to leave this here while we start on our syrup on the stove. Camera B is now set up. In a small pot that I don't really care for if something happens to it. We're going to take 2 cups of white sugar, put them into the pot. I'm using a really small pot on purpose. And 1 cup of water. I'm going to give this 1 mix, and then you're supposed to just leave it alone for 15 to 20 minutes. While we're waiting for that syrup to go, let's do some quick facts about the track. The first Grand Prix was held in 2004 after a marshland in the Shanghai district earned the right to host Formula 1 races. It takes a lot of steps to do so. And they earned that right in April of 2003 as the FIA wanted to expand the series. It took 18 months and about $450 million, and the Shanghai International Circuit was created. It was one of the 2 new races in the 2004 season, the other one being Bahrain, which now we usually do pre-season testing at. Between the years 2020 through 2023, the race disappeared from the calendar due to COVID and other scheduling conflictions. It was on the calendar, it just wasn't held. And it came back in 2024, just in time for Chinese driver Zhou Guanyu to drive the race for the first time. The circuit is in the shape of the Chinese character Shang, which means upward, which is very cool to me because it seems like something as someone from Texas we would do. I'm kind of shocked like Coda isn't the shape of Texas because that seems like some crazy thing we do. I don't know why everyone's obsessed with the shape of Texas. So some quick facts. The circuit is 5.451 kilometers in length and has a total of 56 laps, which means when the race is completed, the drivers would have traveled 305.066 kilometers in distance. I'm gonna put the lid on. So the current lap record was held by Michael Schumacher from his 2004 lap, the first race of the Chinese Grand Prix ever, at 1 minute 32 seconds, 0.238 milliseconds. But during sprint qualifying, that was overtaken by Lewis Hamilton, which happened this weekend, and then that was overtaken by Lando Norris. Then it was overtaken by Oscar Piastri. So at this point, I don't know who has the current lap record. I will put it on screen, but when I was writing this, it kept changing. So our syrup is still going, so let's talk about this week's news. I was planning April's content and this series filming days, and I realized that we technically are on like a 5-header, not a triple header, because there's only 1 break week, which is upcoming, so I hope everyone's doing well. It's also a sprint weekend. We saw the winner of that being Lewis Hamilton, but for some reason the Ferraris couldn't have the same pace during qualifying. So last week's race was a doozy. It's the 5 or 6 DNFs. Crazy. I feel really bad for the rookies. I do love that Alonso took one in solidarity as the eldest rookie, but Behrman survived. He got those crashes out during free practice, so that's a win. A win is a win. Also, Albon points, yay, and the cars made it. If you didn't hear the news, shipping from Australia to China, the top 4 teams, Aston Martin, Red Bull, McLaren, I want to say Ferrari, it might not be Ferrari, their cars weren't there by Monday, so we're lucky that those cars are even on track. Finally, I learned that I'm not the only person who hates this year's graphics. which I'm very proud about because I thought I was just being picky. Let's get into this week's feminism and the hosting country. I am reading this book Faster, which deals with sports tourism and how it hides bad things countries are doing. It's a little deeper than that, but we are going to get into the darker portion of this series, and that is women and motorsports. I'm sure you're not surprised. Basically, my undergrad degree is in women, gender, and sexuality studies with a minor in criminal justice. So I want to bring that knowledge of what I'm learning to this series and talk about feminism in each of our hosting countries. So China's history is a little murky. I found plenty of great scholarly articles, and here is just a quick summary. It's 2 pages long, but some of the key points. Many sources came from people of Chinese descent, but living in different countries, so they're part of the Chinese diaspora. So let's keep a little skepticism because obviously we always need to when it comes to history. The first wave of Chinese feminism emerged during the 20th century, led primarily by male intellects and nationalists. So it wasn't even spearheaded by women. The first wave viewed the vulnerability of Chinese women as the root cause of the nation's weakness and aimed to strengthen their nation by liberating women. So they saw that their oppression of women was causing the country to be weaker. So they decided to uplift the women, not for women to have more rights, but to strengthen the country. In 1949, the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, established a social regime and public gender discourse, emphasized the sameness between male and female, encouraging women to enter the public sphere of wage labor, so the workforce. The term feminism at this point still wasn't used. The reform and opening up era began in 1978 when Western feminist theories began to become known in China. Some Chinese universities even began to offer some gender study courses, and the concept of non-government organizations, NGOs, was introduced. There's our 20-minute timer. It's supposed to be an amber color, and then when you put it in ice water, it's supposed to harden super quick. I have just some bowl of ice water here. I'm going to dip a spoonful. So by the 21st century, the Chinese government had withdrew its support from local NGOs. The foreign NGO law was also put into effect coming into 2017, which prevented local NGOs from receiving overseas funding. So think of like any aid that any other country gives another country, they were outlawed. That was outlawed. So this is where the biggest fault in Chinese feminism. It's because it's rarely been mobilized through formal organizations. Formal marches, you know, we have the Women's March in the United States. We have protests in our history. We're not perfect. Believe me, when we get to the US, I will be dragging us to filth. But just for social comparison. But individual expression is shown on social media, like many other countries, which is the norm. The term pink feminism was then coined as a way of doing feminism in a highly restricted environment, you know, restricted websites, media, that sort of thing, encouraging young feminists to examine their indigenous history, and it can be seen. But pink feminism also refers to feminism on social media and talking about it, but those who are even very moderate in their takes, like even just saying, oh, I think we deserve equal pay, that's pretty moderate. They can have their accounts taken down. So pink feminism has also seen its critique for still conforming to government power because they have to be so careful about what they say. During 2018 to 2020, the Me Too movement had a huge impact in China because it correlated with a horrible criminal case surrounding the chain woman. It's a case about a woman who horrible abuse happened and she was not believed for what she had to endure, and that really woke a lot of citizens up because it was on the news. In early 2023, the China's Women's Protection Law went into effect. It includes new regulations aimed at protecting women in the workplace, particularly against sexual harassment, but it also contains a provision protecting women that promotes the notion of respecting family values for women. Okay, so it solidified quickly, and then it needs to crack when bent, which yes. Okay, we have that caramel color, so we are just going to dip quickly into this swirl and then dip in here. And be very careful because I have given myself a 2nd-degree burn before on my foot from hot sugar. So be very careful. That is why I'm wearing long sleeves all around. And then you can hear it. So while I am doing this, the current leader, President Tsai, took office in 2012. And in 2012, China ranked 69 in the Global Gender Gap Index by the World Economic Forum. You want to work quickly because the sugar is going to start to burn. But as of 2024, China now ranks 106 out of the 146 countries in the index. In numerous speeches, President Tsai has claimed to advocate for feminism in China, but has also emphasized the importance of women paying attention to family, friends, family education, and family tradition. There is a rise of resentment, and it's not due to women being more oppressed, but because they have reached a point that they can no longer tolerate their oppression. The main issue seems to be disorganization with censorship at the moment. Our syrup is now like brown. Okay, I know that was a lot of information, especially on a Formula 1 video, but that is what I thought is interesting. And I don't want to give like not enough information. Let's do a taste test. I'm going to do this one because it has both. My teeth are really sensitive, so bear with me. Yeah. Oh, this is so good. It's so simple. Just please be careful with the syrup. That was really good. It's nice and crunchy on the outside, but it's very thin on the crunch, so it's not hard to chew, and it's super soft and chewy on the inside because it's strawberries and grapes, so you should know those textures. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10 pandas because my teeth are a little sensitive, so it is hard for me to chew right now. So before we go, let's do some race predictions. So the starting grid obviously is Oscar Piastri's first pole, followed by George Russell. I don't know how he keeps ended up there, and Norris. So I'm gonna say a McLaren win. I'm feeling Oscar. That'd be fun to switch off. And you know, China is his 1/16th race. I also am gonna say on that podium, I am feeling Lewis Hamilton on there. I know he is not up there, but after that sprint win, I think he has the motivation to drive like hell. I also am going to say there's going to be a battle between Hamilton and Verstappen because, well, we saw during the sprint race and we know their history. Yuki are going to be 6 and 7. I'm so happy to see V-Carb in the top 10. We will talk about Lawson next time and all that drama. But yeah, so to close out this video, I am doing meme of the week, memes that stood out to me. So this is our top meme, okay? And this is me in a tea because I could be out drinking, I could be pregnant, I could be partying, and you know what I'm doing? I'm picking desserts inspired by countries and watching F1, okay? And I just don't have a good sleep schedule. I read. This is me in a picture personified. And then here are some of my honorable mentions. These memes also make me laugh. Here are some more. And yeah, that is all I have for you. I will see you in a couple weeks for round 3 in Japan. Love you, mean it, kisses, don't doing stupid, and I'll see you next time. Bye!